Hi everybody, today I'm going to be giving my informational speech. My name is Juliana Tyler and my topic that I chose for this speech is tornadoes. Why I chose this topic? Personally, I've been fascinated with tornadoes ever since I was really little. Almost on a nightly basis, I'll end up watching some sort of tornado documentary, some type of weather documentary. It's always been a fascination of mine. I probably watched enough documentaries that I could do this speech without any research. I still did some rough research, but I'm using a lot of my prior knowledge on the topic as well, because I'm very passionate about it. It's also one of my greatest fears. If I were to ever come in contact with a tornado, I would probably have a heart attack. But I think that's what keeps me interested, is because I'm so afraid of them. Also, why I chose this topic is because we all know global warming has had a huge impact on weather phenomenon, between like hurricanes, tornadoes, thunderstorms in general. The higher the heat and the humidity in the air, it's a perfect equation for huge thunderstorms, and these huge thunderstorms are what create tornadoes. They're actually especially more prevalent in the South, like Tornado Alley, Midwest. But because of global warming, scientists have actually discovered that Tornado Alley is actually moving closer to the East Coast than previous. So it's moving through Alabama, Georgia, some parts of Florida. All of this because of global warming. So to start out, what is a tornado? So I'm sure most of you are familiar with what a tornado is. It's a funnel cloud that comes out of a thunderstorm. So you could have a big supercell thunderstorm. This thunderstorm is created, again, because of the high heat. There's a lot of different things that go into it. Humidity, pressure, lots of things like that. But usually if you have a supercell thunderstorm, there tends to be some sort of rotation in the clouds. If this rotation gets strong enough, it will form a tornado and it will end up reaching the ground. When it reaches the ground, this is when the cold air from the ground, because high heat rises, the cold air from the ground can be pulled up into this wind funnel and just keep energizing it, giving it more energy, more power, and then that's just how it'll just keep getting stronger until it damages pretty much anything in its path. Typically, like I said, it's more Midwest, Texas, Kansas, Missouri. Those are where like most of the big known tornadoes have happened. Obviously, we had one in New Jersey in 2021. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that. But yeah, it's more prevalent now, I think, because of the global warming going on. The danger of tornadoes and like warning signs of tornadoes. So typically, you know when a thunderstorm is coming. We know when one is coming because of the high pressure, the low pressure, and they also say that if it's really hot outside, like today is a good example, the sun's heating up outside so strongly right now. If we were to get a thunderstorm later tonight and the temperatures drop down to like 70 degrees, that in theory could be a perfect equation for a tornado, because that high heat mixing with the cold air from down here, that's what it would create. I actually want to talk about one of the scariest tornadoes that I've researched. It's called the Joplin, Missouri tornado. It was a EF5. I'll get into the ratings in a second. It was actually a mile wide, and in your head you might be like, okay, it's a mile wide. When I was doing my research, I actually saw to scale how big this tornado was, and it shook me to the core. Like, it was genuinely the scariest thing I had ever seen. It claimed 161 lives. This includes even when people were sheltering. So that's how strong the storm was. It was considered a wedge tornado. So typically when we think of tornadoes, it's like a cone shape. It was so strong and so wide, it had no visible shape. It just looked like a big thunderstorm cloud. That's what made it so dangerous, is because people couldn't see it coming. The technology that we have to detect them, honestly, we just use radar, and like Doppler radar. That's like our biggest technology advancement for tornadoes, because we can actually visualize rotation in thunderstorms now, and we can give a tornado warning way ahead of when it would actually touch down on the ground, which can save hundreds of lives. And then lastly, I want to get into the EF scale. So the EF scale, it's called the Fujita scale, and it bases off of 1 through 5, 1 being the least amount of damage, 5 being the most. So typically most tornadoes are around like 3, like the most damage would be 5. And they assess the rating based on how much damage is done to the land. Let's say your roof is like flown off, that would be like an EF0. But if your house is completely flattened down to the foundation, that would be an EF5. And then just like some ways to stay safe from a tornado: obviously get to lower ground, make sure you're away from any windows, and yeah, just staying lowest point in your house as possible is a way that you can stay safe. But yeah, thank you guys for listening. This was my presentation on tornadoes, and I hope you enjoyed. I love talking about them. So yeah, thank you.